We have derived a heritage from the Protestant Reformation. And those are the doctrines that we are really talking about here today, and that these are the things for which the Reformers were ready to die. And as a matter of fact, many of them did die. It's not something peripheral to the church. It's the very essence of the revelation of God in Scripture and the gospel that we find there. They used this word sola as they began to talk about Scripture and Christ, and grace and faith and God's glory. The Reformers love that word sola. Sola means alone or only, and it's the very essence of what they were doing. Because you see, they were speaking into an allegedly Christian context in which all of those things were not denied. What had happened in the church of the Middle Ages, because of great ignorance of the Bible, what had happened is that the traditions of the church had sort of grown up to obscure the Bible or displace it from the position it should hold in Christian thinking. And so the Reformers came along, and they didn't deny the value of all traditions. We all have our traditions. We do things differently in our various churches, and that's fine. But what they said was this: when you put the two side by side, the only real authority is the Scriptures. And so they put the word sola with it to say that when you're talking about authority, only the Scripture is the authority. But the traditions must be judged by the Scriptures, and so sola scriptura is what they affirmed. And then they talked about Christ. And here they said it's Christ alone. Now, in the church, everybody knew that Christ was the Savior, right? He died on the cross for sin and so forth. But in the traditions of the church at that time, the work of Christ was not sufficient for salvation. Oh, it made it possible, of course, but what the individual needed was not the work of Christ alone. He also needed the merit of the saints. His own merit was not achieved in this life. He did it in purgatory and so on. And the Reformer said, no, when you get into that, you've lost the gospel. Because the gospel is Christ alone. He alone is sufficient for our salvation. Christ is sufficient.